Hello, I'm Ken Fobb. This is NewsNet, Baton Rouge. Grab yourself a tea or coffee as I go over with you headlines and news from our local area and region. 3 men were recently arrested for the murder of the woman who was found tied up in her own home and shot to death recently in the city of Zachary, a crime which sent shockwaves throughout the community. 24-year-old Adrian Curtis, his brother 25-year-old Cortland Curtis, and 22-year-old Donovan Brown were arrested by the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office as being suspects in the commission of this heinous crime. The victim was Miss Frances Jane Schultz, a 73-year-old who was found tied up with duct tape with gunshots to her head inside of her home on Bryan Road on March the 21st. When her husband discovered her body after he returned home from a funeral that evening. Deputies found signs of a forced entry at the front door, and they also found that several items were missing from the home, including a ring and 2 guns. Sheriff Sid Gocho says a notepad was found inside of the residence with Adrian Curtis's nickname and phone number on it. Also, his DNA was found underneath the victim's fingernails. These clues led investigators to seek for Curtis, after which they learned he had previously worked on Mr. and Mrs. Schultz's property, baling hay. It is reported that Adrian Curtis has confessed to the crime. He says Donovan Brown drove them to the house and that all 3 of them helped to tie up Mrs. Schultz. He says Curtis's brother Cortland dragged Mrs. Schultz into the house and shot her multiple times with one of the guns they stole. Each of the 3 have been booked on first-degree murder and aggravated burglary charges. At the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola, Louisiana, on Thursday past around 5 a.m., there was what is being described as a shakedown during a shift change at the prison. Heroin, marijuana, methamphetamine, and a digital scale used for weighing narcotics were among the items found at and inside of the Angola prison. Crystal Jenkins, a 40-year-old female from Woodville, Mississippi, was booked on various drug counts and on 1 count of introducing contraband into a penal institution. Jenkins has worked at Angola since 2018, but she has resigned after confessing to DOC investigators as a result. You may recall that earlier this year, a total of 7 employees in Angola prison, which included 6 correctional officers and 1 nurse, had to resign from their positions due to criminal charges after an investigation found they had engaged in inappropriate relationships with inmates, which included sex. The Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs conducted a Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Honors Program on Friday past. This took place at American Legion Nicholson Post 38 in Baton Rouge. Retired U.S. Marine Major General Ron Richard was the keynote speaker, and there was a missing man table and a Warriors farewell presentation, as well as other demonstrations providing information, all in honor of our Vietnam veterans. All who attended the event were served a sit-down meal after the program. Similar programs were conducted at each of the 5 Louisiana veterans homes across the state. A golf course in St. Francisville, Louisiana, known as the Bluffs on Thompson Creek, recently sold for $3.1 million to a group of community residents. This means that an ongoing dispute over the future of this Arnold Palmer designed golf course has come to an end. The Bluffs Community LLC, which is a group formed to support and oversee management of the golf course on a nonprofit basis, says it purchased the course from Baton Rouge attorney Jerry Dotson and the successors of his late business partner, Ken Carter, who happens to be the father of Louisiana State Senator Karen Carter. The organization says it intends to make changes to the course as well as its operations, and it has tapped Mr. Eddie Anderson, a veteran golf pro and general club manager, to take over management. These have been headlines and news from our local area and region. I'm yours truly, Ken Fobb. I'll see you next time right here on NewsNet, Baton Rouge.